Yes, fight fans, body and mind sports, my people. You are fully appreciated in this round, my guys, my people. So, Alexander Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven. The big controversy. Now, I've already given my opinion on the outcome of that fight there. I will be dropping the link in the description box below. Go get it, my guys, my people. Support this channel. If you want to see it grow, it will be absolutely appreciated. Now, with that said, should we move on to this huge center point? So the center point of the controversy is of course Mark Lyson, isn't it? Mark Lyson, who jumped in the 11th round to stop the fight after Usyk had dropped Verhoeven. Verhoeven made it up, by the way, but Usyk followed up with another flurry that had, Verhoeven very hurt. Wasn't defending himself properly, I would have to say. But he did look more fatigued than hurt. If he was going to get stopped, maybe it would have been the fatigue to do it, But Mark Lyson decided that he had seen enough with just, some people say 4 seconds to go on the clock. Some people say 1 second to go on the clock before the bell sounded. So the popular opinion is that why didn't he give Verhoeven the benefit of the doubt? Because Verhoeven, according to popular people like us, me, you, public opinion, that Verhoeven was well ahead on the scorecard, even after the knockdown, right? And so why wasn't he given the benefit of the doubt to see whether he could actually recover in the 12th round enough to go on and win the fight? And so, Mark Lyson's, what he did there by stepping in, it's like he took away the opportunity, that for both fighters to be able to get a definitive win here. And that is what has upset all of us. Right? But listen, if you really knew what was on those judges' scorecards, go through the count, my guys, my people, you would realize that even after the 11th round, if Verhoeven had made it to the 12th round, the only way he would have won the fight on the cards, or even if winning the fight outright, the only way he would have won is via knockout. Via knockout. This was a setup from day one. From day one, my guys, my people. Anyway, about the controversy, Mark Lyson stepping in, what makes things even worse is that he didn't even stop the fight before the bell sounded. He actually stopped the fight after the bell sounded. Funny enough, after the bell sounded. Anyway, AJ and Canelo, who were sitting front seat viewing this match, they had their opinion as to whether the fight was stopped too early or not. AJ was very direct and he said, yeah, definitely. That was his opinion. However, when he was asked whether Verhoeven should have been in front after the 10th round, he was a little bit more diplomatic with that answer. And he said this, quote, I don't know, but it was a good fight. I knew he was a good fighter. End quotation. So that is AJ. And I wouldn't expect anything less than diplomatic from him, because he's now part of Team Usyk, training with Team Usyk. AJ, who was actually supposed to fight Verhoeven before Usyk, however, the tragic car accident that he was involved in Nigeria meant that couldn't happen. Had it gone ahead, I wouldn't say had it gone ahead, but now considering how Verhoeven it did against Alexander Usyk, and Usyk, as we know, has beaten Joshua twice already in much easier fashion, by the way. Does it mean that had Verhoeven and AJ fought that he would have beaten AJ? You might be inclined to think so, but I would rather not. Because stylistically, AJ, he is younger, he's bigger, he's stronger than Usyk, he can punch harder. He has straighter punches. He has straighter punches. Doesn't have these looping shots that Usyk has. And I think those straight punches are more ideal for dealing with the herky-jerky nonsense movements of Verhoeven, in all honesty. In all honesty, my guys, my people. So I think it's a case of style makes fights. I just think AJ's style is more suited to Verhoeven, well, more suited to beating Verhoeven, I mean, especially with his power, his youth, and his size. And his size, my guys. My people. Now, according to Saul Canelo Alvarez, his view was much different from AJ's, and he had this to say. Quote, good fight. I didn't expect that from Rico, but good fight. I don't think the stoppage was early. I think they saved him from a brutal knockout. End quotation. But I'm going to ask, how brutal would the knockout have been? Like I said, it looked like he was going to get knocked out, but the knockout would have been due to mostly him being fatigued. So it's not like if you got stepped on and got slept, that he would have gone on to suffer prolonged damage, you know. That isn't the case. That isn't the case as I see it here. You know, but ultimately it is the referee's job to look after the fighters first and foremost. And when you view it in that sense, there isn't a time too early or too late for the referee to do his job. There isn't a time too late or too early for the referee to do his job the best that he can, my guys, my people. Now, what Canelo said there has jogged my memory of the Meldrick Taylor versus Julio Cesar Chavez fight, where that was a very, very brutal fight, and Meldrick Taylor was clearly ahead on the scorecards. However, the referee stepped in with just 4 or 3 seconds left in the 12th and final round and stopped the fight after Chavez had run a flurry on Taylor and had him stunned. You know, the referee stepped in to stop the fight very, very close to the bell, and that caused huge controversy. But now relating that to what I was saying, that it's the referee's job to protect the fighters and they can jump in whenever they see fit. Well, Meldrick Taylor, after that fight, it was revealed that he had received shattered cheekbones, so damage to his cheekbones and internal damage as well, and he was pissing blood for days after that fight, you know. So maybe that stoppage there can be justified after hearing that information. However, I think Mark still messed up. He still messed up with Verhoeven, because like I said, Verhoeven, it's not like he's going to be pissing blood after this fight. Not this fight, my guys, my people. Usyk hardly threw any body shots in the fight. Hardly did. Plus, Usyk is not a huge puncher. Chavez is. And Verhoeven looked more fatigued than anything else. The fatigue would have stopped him more than anything else. More than anything else, my guys, my people. Now, concerning the problem of the fight actually being stopped after the bell had gone, right? Well, Mr. Mark Lyson himself was confronted by Rico's trainer on the night. His trainer for 15 years, I would say, Peter Fury. And this is what Peter Fury had to say. Quote, my guys, my people, while speaking to IFL TV, this is what Peter Fury had to say. Damn, what did he say? Quote, the referee Mark was on the flight with me on the way back, so I went over to him, as that is the way you go over and settle a dispute. I wanted to know why he stopped the fight after the bell. The fight could have gone to points, or Usyk could have stopped him properly. That is what I was saying, right? Could have stopped him properly. But the referee has made a mistake, because that is what has caused the controversy. He said to me, Peter, I didn't hear the bell. I said, well, that I believe, as I didn't hear the bell either. I thought it was 2 seconds before. He didn't hear the bell. I will give him credit. We shook hands, and it is what it is. I think he realized he made a mistake. He said he was there to protect the fighters. Exactly what I was saying. The referee's job, first and foremost, is to protect the fighters. However, I still think he messed up. He definitely messed up. And he's made an admission to Peter Fury that he didn't hear the bell go. Peter Fury himself said he didn't hear the bell go, that he actually thought that Lyson had stepped in to stop the fight 2 seconds before the bell had actually sounded. You know, so yeah, there must have been something that was into messing up the sound in the makeshift arena on the night, you know. So something was definitely going on that night there, my guys, my people. But he did get an admission from Mark Lyson, as you heard, that he did not hear the bell. He did not hear the bell. Perhaps that would give Verhoeven a stronger case, as he is looking to appeal the decision on the night. And well, I don't know. He would have a stronger leg to stand on now that it's been revealed that you know, Mr. Marky Lyson stopped the fight when it shouldn't have been stopped. He stopped the fight at a time when he should have sent both fighters to their corners and let the corners decide. All right. However, I don't think Verhoeven's appeal is going to go through. He's definitely not going to get this fight overturned. You know, he might get a rematch, not from the appeal. Maybe if Usyk says yes, let's rematch, and if Turkey is willing to back it, I reckon, my guys, my people, that is his best chance. That is his best chance, in all honesty. This is boxing. Since when have you heard that an appeal got lodged and it passed? Doesn't ever pass. Anyway, this is what Usyk, by the way, thought of his performance on the night, right? He said this on social media, quote, they say it was tense watching my fight with Rico. Guys, I just didn't want you to be bored. Come on. End quotation. Usyk said in a post on social media X. Crazy. This guy is just trolling. He is trolling Verhoeven's performance. Totally trashing it and discrediting it. So yeah, Usyk is saying that he wanted to get hurt on purpose, basically. The amount of punches that he took, the struggle that he went through in the fight, he went through it on purpose so that we wouldn't be bored. What kind of nonsense is that? If he wanted to give us an exciting fight, how about Cabello instead of this fight? Why didn't you give us Cabello instead of this fight? Why didn't he give us Moses Itama instead of this fight? Those were the two fights we were calling for. So here, I don't get all of this. I really don't get all of this, my guys, my people. And do you know what? Nobody gets it. This is what people actually think of his performance. They think it is so bad that he should either give Rico a rematch, right? Fight Cabello or any other credible fighter, or retire. In fact, Full stop. People are asking him to consider retirement, including his ex-promoter on the K2 Promotions, Alex Krassyuk, my guys, my people. Krassyuk, whilst talking to Talk Sports, this is what he had to say, my guys. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole thing that he said, but yeah, I'm going to give you little excerpts, right? Let's go through Krassyuk's breakdown of Usyk's performance. He said this quote, Usyk is the type of guy who prepares for every fight in the same way, but we have to keep in mind that he is 39 already, added Krassyuk. All the credit to Rico, who is almost the same age, but if you fight 12 rounds, it makes you feel exhausted at some point. I am friends with his current trainer, Igor Gulov, who had to replace the other trainer, Yuri Tachenko, and I know they trained exactly the same way as they did before. It was exactly the same volume of work, but the difference between 33 and 36 and 36 and 39 is considerable, and it has to be taken into considerations by all specialists who are preparing him for such a fight. My guys, my people. There were some things that looked similar in both the Dubois rematch and Van Hoven fights. He looked flat-footed, and the amount of steps he took into the ring considerably declined, and that is probably something that is coming from the mind of the camp rather than Usyk himself. They used to train him to throw tougher, harder punches rather than more of an amateur style where he won all of his titles. Krassyuk then goes on to say, if he takes the rematch with Verhoeven, I think it will be an easy fight. I think so too. He's figured him out. He has figured him out. Because it takes away the enigma, the cards will be unveiled. But here is what I actually want you to hear. Let me go to the beginning of his statement, right? And this is what he said at the beginning of his statement. He said this, right? It is better to leave 1 hour before than 1 minute after. As a friend and as someone who has been with him 12 years of his career, I wish for him to remain the best in ages and for him to retire. Even before this fight, I wanted him to retire. So yeah, Usyk can be making fun and treating this as a joke online, but people ain't laughing. People ain't laughing. People want to see him retire off that performance. Off of that performance, we know that you was trying your damn hardest to beat this kickboxer, all right? Who had only had one professional pro boxing bout 12 years ago. 12 friggin' years ago, my guys, my people. Man, Usyk better leave it out, man. He better leave it out. Krassyuk, by the way, he still thinks after that performance, that Moses Itama, that it's too early for him to take on Usyk. You must be mad. Especially from that performance, Moses Itama rips him apart. Rips him apart easily. Fighters that move around a lot, Usyk has always had a problem with. Michael Hunter, remember, in the cruiserweight division, arguably beat Usyk. Fury, the first fight, you know, he was doing great. He's a mover, right? It's either he struggles against movers or people that just come at him relentlessly, you know, without a care in the world, like a Chisora or something, like a Chisora. Usyk has always had problems with those sort of fighters, but very clever though is Verhoeven. Nobody has said this, but Verhoeven was cutting off Usyk's exit point, you know, which we know is habitually his right hand side. He's southpaw, right? And when he throws his punches, he likes to circle away, you know, and use his right hand side as the exit point. But you know what? Every time he tried to do that valve and his skipping around was covering that exit point, and that made it a lot harder for Alexander Usyk. Take note, my guys, my people. Don't believe me? Go watch the fight again. You will notice it. Now, with that said, Edric Cabello, would Usyk fight him after that performance? It's something to think about, isn't it? It is something to think about. But ultimately, people do want him to retire. Either that or give us the real boxing matches. And the WBC, we know, has ordered that fight. And if Usyk doesn't fight Cabello next and fights Rico, we could have it that he stands to lose more than one belt. And that's not going to be great. Even though he's shown in the past he doesn't really care about the belts that much. He's going to do what he wants to do, even if he has to vacate. So maybe he might take the Verhoeven fight, which is going to be a bigger fight now, and I think it's going to be an easier fight for him as well, now that he knows the style of Rico. And the first outcome has promoted it already. That has done huge promotion for it already. And who knows, another investor might want to step in and make it an even bigger event with more money involved. For example, Netflix might want to step in. You may never know. You may never know. But whatever Usyk chooses to do, whether Rico or whether Cabello, one thing I definitely don't want is another fight with Fury or another fight with Daniel Dubois. Definitely don't want that. Those two trilogies there, my guys, my people. So yeah, I don't know what he does, but Cabello, he's a big name in Germany, so it's a big money fight now. It's a big money fight. Usyk as well is well known in Germany, because Ukraine is not far from Germany at all. So yeah, that is a good fight. That is a big fight that could happen. But it is a fight full of jeopardy. But let's see if he actually goes on and take that fight, my guys, my people. Now, with that said, should we move on straight to the undercard? Hamza Shiraz versus Burgic, Alim Burgic. I told you, easy fight. It's a run out. Shiraz basically got a run out for a title shot. Now, it's not his fault, because he was supposed to be fighting Diego Pacheco, but Pacheco, he ducked the opportunity, my guys. But great win by Hamza Shiraz, who didn't play with his food at all. And he took out Alim in just 2 rounds. I predicted 3 rounds. He took him out in 2 rounds. Alim, you could just see it on his resume. Very obscure, plus his resume even more obscure as well. So yeah, I just knew it was coming. But congratulations to Shiraz. He's still, how old is he? 26, isn't he? Still 26, and now he's the WBO champion. Let's see if he can get to unify with Saul Canelo Alvarez, if Canelo should take the WBC strap from Christian Mbile in September, my guys. My people, I say, let's get it, my guys. My people, they are after Canelo. I hope Canelo takes the fight if he beats Mbile. Now, with that said, we also have Richard Torres. We had Richard Torres versus Frank Sanchez. And now Frank Sanchez, he was by far the superior fighter, skill-wise, experience-wise, you name it, size, power, boxing ability, movement. He was a superior fighter to the huge favorite, Torres. Torres was the huge favorite in this bout, even though he match up with Sanchez skill wise. But Sanchez, the suspicion was that he had declined as a fighter, that he was now washed up, too old at the age of 33 now. Plus, he had a reoccurring injury that was hampering him. We saw how it hampered him in the Cabello fight, where he got stopped in the 7th round or the 8th round to the body. And before this fight with Torres, he had to pull out the first scheduling again because of the reoccurring knee injury. So people suspected that it may play out the same as his fight with Usyk Rico, and he might lose to Torres. We were we were too far from the mark on this one. Didn't even go past the second round. He splattered Torres with one punch in the second round, and it was a counter punch. It was a counter hook. Torres threw a right hook first. It slapped Sanchez, I believe, just by the side of his head, and Sanchez replied straight away. And Torres was open for the shot. He ate it, but he couldn't withstand it. He dropped, boom, flat out. Not a TKO. I'm talking about KO, my guys. My people, he just wasn't ready. I don't even think is he world level, because there's a lot of holes in his game. Bomac McIntyre, his trainer, has got a lot of rebuilding to do with Torres. That's if he can be rebuilt. That is if he can be rebuilt. You know. Now, that said, who else did we have? Oh my God, Jack Catterall versus Shakram Gayasov. What a performance from Jack Catterall. And he even dropped Gayasov in the first round. In the first round, he drops Gayasov. Now, Gayasov makes it out and he finishes the fight. But I don't know, there's something missing with Gayasov. It's like there's no urgency in him. And he's too hesitant, too frightened of what is going to come back at him. While Catterall on the other side was just outboxing him and schooling him, you know. So yeah, great performance by Jack Catterall. Good win. He now holds the WBA regular strap, and he's mandatory to Rolly Romero, who didn't want to fight Gassiev when Gassiev was his mandatory. You know, but it was a forced mandatory. I have to say, it was a forced mandatory because Gassiev was not holding the WBA regular, which is an interim title, by the way. So it was not a direct mandatory. And I would say, that is why they couldn't force the fight on Rolly. Had they been able to force the fight, then they would have been able to force him to vacate. And Shakram and Catterall would have been fighting for the belt. Goes to tell you that a #1 contender position means absolutely nothing, my guys, my people. Now, along with Usyk's embarrassment on the night, we had his team member Daniel Lapin, 6'6", and he was fighting Tani. What's his first name? Tani's first name. Yeah, but Daniel Lapin, 6'6", and he was fighting Tani. What's his first name? Tani's first name. Yeah, he went up against a French fighter by the name Benjamin Tani. And do you know what? I was not impressed with Lapin's performance in the undercard of Usyk Daniel Dubois last July against Lewis Edmondson. I thought they both stunk out the place, in all honesty. I've never liked Lapin's style. However, I picked him to win it this fight simply because I didn't know Tani at all. Boy, did I regret it. Boy, did I regret it, my guys. Tani took care of things in just 4 rounds. Now, Lapin, being long, was trying to stay behind his jab, but the pressure of Tani got to him, along with the body shots. You know, even dropped him to the body in that 4th round as well. Dropped him in total 3 times in that 4th round before actually taking him out with a right hand that actually stunned him first. The referee jumped in. He had seen enough. And he stopped the fight there and then. Also on this card, we have the young Japanese female fighter, Mizuto Hiruta, WBO Ring Magazine champion at super flyweight. She defeated Solomon. What's the first name? Yeah, she defeated Mai Solomon. I thought Mai Solomon was a good fighter, a good puncher as well. She showed, but she's very, very limited in her shots. Not much variety at all. Always throwing the 1-2 and the 1-2 only all the time, the majority of the time. While Mizuto was just looking slick in there, getting out of the way of shots, slipping shots, counter punching, looking very good with the legs. You know, looking very good with the hands as well. Obviously, the faster fighter. You know, and she went on to win via unanimous decision, and an entertaining fighter she is as well. Hiruta. Like to see more of her. Now they're looking to match her up with Gabriela Fondora. Hiruta. It looks like she would rather unify in her division than face the anomaly in the flyweight division, Fondora. Fondora, I'm sorry to say, would rip her apart, my guys, my people. And with that said, that's all I have for you on this one. Before you leave, do like, share, subscribe, of course, drop your comments below. And as always, my people, stay blessed and let's catch up on the next one. Do support the channel, my guys, my people. We out there. Stay blessed.